Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Beaver Talk. Today, we have a very important guest in the building. We have Mr. Collins, the athletic director of Karns High School. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
That's good. That's good. So I'm here with my co-host Brody and
What's up?
Avery,
What's up?
and then we got Remy, our cameraman. You'll be seeing him on future episodes. But today we're just gonna talk about just a couple of things dealing with sports and how you really like your job, inspirations,
Just ask you a few questions.
Absolutely.
just simple stuff like that. It's not gonna be nothing too crazy or nothing personal. But I think the first question I want to ask you is can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Ben Collins, and I'm the athletic director here at Karns High School. I've been a teacher and a coach for, I guess, about 15 years now. I did spend 13 years coaching basketball, coached both boys and girls at the middle school level and the high school level. My last coaching job was the girls coach at Central High School, and this is my second year here at Karns. Also had a year of coaching volleyball and a year of coaching softball as well.
So you definitely been around for sports for a long time. That's I like that. So you basically so has sports always been your own thing?
Oh yeah, I grew up playing sports. Pretty much anything I could. I guess my first sport was soccer when I was a little kid. I think it's a good introductory sport, especially learn how to be on a team, things like that. And through the years, played baseball, basketball, football, tennis. So I did a lot of anything to get out there and compete.
That's good.
So lots of coaching experience is what I'm hearing. Yeah. Another question for you. What is your overall opinion on the Karns athletics program this year? Just as a
So
whole.
it's been overall we've had a really competitive year in most of our sports. We're kicking off spring sports in the next week or two, getting them going. And I expect that we'll be really competitive in those as well. I think that if overall as a school, you want to be competing to get as far in the postseason as you can, as much as
definitely.
possible, and that doesn't change for me as an athletic director. I always want our teams to be as successful as possible.
For sure.
Just finished up basketball season. Boys and girls both went to the regional tournament. Got put out in the quarterfinals of the regional tournament this year. Had some success in basketball. And bowling is a winter sport that finished up. We went to the sub-state in bowling, which is awesome. I think that it's so cool that we even have a bowling team. Not everybody does.
No, I don't think a lot of schools
kind
have
of a
bowling
common
teams.
occasion.
Yeah, not everybody does, but that's been something that we've been that we've had some success at the last couple of years, and so I was excited for them to make such a run. One game short of the state tournament there, and so overall, really competitive year. There's always room to improve, but I'm happy with where we're at.
One side question before we move on to the next question. I was going to ask, how do you feel about sports from this year versus last year? Because you said this is your second year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
What
versus
has been the improvement? If there's been any
last year, because I know last year we definitely had a lot of stars. We had JJ, we had Jalen. Football, we had Deshaun. So
Right.
how do you feel about that versus this year?
Yeah, so there's always going to be cycles of
People that come and go.
Yeah, people that come and go. It's hard to replace somebody like Deshaun Bishop who goes on to play Division I football.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's a really a great honor to have athletes of that caliber that come through our school. Deshaun's one of several that have gone on to play Division I football. You had the Harper brothers, and we've had a few others back in our history that have gone on to play at places in Division I and then even in the NFL. So having people like Deshaun, having people like JJ on the basketball court, who's
definitely is good.
Yeah, that means a lot for our school, and it
Definitely.
gives something for everybody to kind of strive for. That
Yeah.
that being that high caliber type of player.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like those players themselves, they've definitely made a name for Karns, because anytime you hear about Karns being like in sports wise, you always don't think about Deshaun Bishop or JJ, like when it comes to sports and stuff like that. So I feel
recently,
in these recent years, I feel like they've put us like in a good spot, like for sports wise, because like even this year, like basketball wise, like we didn't always like beginning of the season, you know, nobody really had any chemistry or whatnot, but we slowly improved, and I feel like
made it work.
Yeah, like we made it work, and you know, Henson was doing his thing, coaching like normal. I think I really appreciate Henson for being a great coach. Like all these years I've known him for, at least he's been a great coach.
Yeah, having coaches like Coach Henson, especially. I mean, he's been here for 28 years. He went to school here. He's an alumni. You know, his
whole family went here.
Been here for a very, very long time.
Yeah, we joke around and call him the mayor of Karns. You know, names on the court, but he deserves a lot of that recognition. You know, even though he wouldn't be the one to necessarily tell you that, but you know, one big accomplishment he had this year was he celebrated win number 400. But you know, that's something that kind of went under the radar. But that's a big accomplishment over a number of years, and he's always been a successful coach, and we're glad to have him.
Yeah.
What
do you got, Avery?
So I was just gonna ask you, like, are you passionate about what you do, and like what drives you to do your job every day?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely passionate about this. I've always been passionate about sports, but I think the biggest thing that kind of drives that passion is just building relationship with kids. You know, helping them reach their goals and see that. You know, as when I was coaching, you know, the absolute best thing about coaching is when you see somebody who is working hard and going through the struggle at trying to get better, trying to improve, and then one day, you know, that switch flips for them, and they're
able to achieve what they want.
They start achieving like all the things that they've been working for, and being able to see that. You know, as a coach and now as an athletic director, where I don't have my hands necessarily on practice very much, but I can still see that struggle. I stop by practice every day, you know, for a little bit of time. I see kids working hard, coaches working hard, and when they see success, that's still awesome for me. It's the best part and what really keeps me going, you know.
Yeah, it's
for
inspiring.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you another question. So like, when it comes to like you growing up doing sports, right? Who do you think like who was the most like who influenced you the most when it came to sports, and like how that affected you now in like your job? If there is somebody that did influence you, or is just sports has just always been your thing?
For sure. I mean, you know, I had a lot of different coaches throughout the year or throughout the years. You know, one of my favorite coaches was actually a coach that he didn't actually coach me directly, right? He was just a coach on our school. His name was Coach Wallace at John Battle High School in Bristol, Virginia, and he was actually my trigonometry teacher. And I didn't play for him, but he was a big influence on me. And another coach that really was influential on me was a guy named Coach Smith, also at John Battle High School, and he was actually our cross country coach, and I did not run cross country, and because it's just not my thing. Especially back then, I was definitely, you know, I was a big guy in high school, and I wasn't out there running 3 to 5 miles or whatever.
I don't blame you. I'm not a big guy now, and I don't think I could do it.
Right, and so you know, he was though really influential on me because he was the reason I wanted to be a teacher, and you know, he poured into his kids every day, whether you were in the classroom or you were out there running cross country for him. And he was probably the biggest influence on why I became a teacher and a coach, because I saw how he impacted kids and how he made a difference in their lives, and I wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah, the coaches can have a really big impact on their players and anybody else around them. It's
for sure. That's good though. Shout out, Coach, for for Mr. Collins being here today. You know,
that's right.
Yeah. Got him to where he is now.
You know, made a name for himself at Karns High School. You know, we love him here. Shout out, Coach, though.
Yeah, they emotionally and, you know, and giving their players a good mindset. And yeah, coaches, they they have that all in control almost a lot of the time, and them being all into their players and stuff, that is a definitely big deal. So
Definitely, like I feel like in my opinion, a coach make or like it'll make or break a player, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a good coach to make a good player, and it takes a bad coach to make a bad player. Like I've definitely had my fair share of coaches. I can definitely say that where it's like a coach has made me want to quit the only sport that I know how to play. So it's just like I feel like coaches definitely play an important part. And I'm glad you found you a coach that like it made you work out, and now you do like you have a great living.
Right, and it's it's important and same kind of thing when you're when I'm looking for coaches now, right? I'm looking for people who are gonna invest in the kids and be there for them and really build that relationship, because I think that gets I think that can get kind of put to the side sometimes. You know, everybody wants to win all the time or whatever, and that's great. Winning, but I think winning is a byproduct of the program that you build. So when when you've got somebody who's investing in the kids, who's making sure they're building that relationship, and taking care of them, then winning is going to be a byproduct of that. And I think that we have a lot of great coaches here at Karns that are really taking care of our guys and girls and really pushing them to be better people on and off the court.
That's good.
So, not quite sure if what you were talking about, who inspired you, was exactly why you were being an athletic director today. What, when you were in high school or college, or I don't know if you went to college or not, what made you when did you figure out, or what made you turn to this path?
Right. So
that's a really good question.
Yeah,
I want to know too.
So I knew one day. Well, I guess I started in high school, right? So I got did class superlatives in high school, and that could be best dress or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the ones that we did in my school is most likely to be a teacher, and I got selected my senior year. That was my superlative. I was the most likely going to be a high school teacher.
Most likely to be a teacher.
And because I knew from an early age that's kind of what I wanted to do, right?
You just had that
It was my thing, and and I did that a lot, in high school, my junior and senior year, even when in our history classes and government classes, when we would have a sub, a lot of times the teacher would leave a note on the paper for the sub as, let Collins go over the notes for the day, because he knows the lesson plan and things like that.
Oh, so you were really already. This was premeditated before you became a teacher.
Yeah,
It was premeditated.
So that's it. So I knew that's what I wanted to do, for my career path, right? And so I went to school at Emory and Henry College, and so I got my education degree, and I knew I wanted to be, I wanted to coach, as well. And so when I got my first teaching job, they had told me that they wanted me to coach as well. And so the original idea was I was going to be an assistant baseball coach, and I was going to teach earth science. And so about, I don't know, September of that first year that I was teaching, the athletic director, who was also our head principal at the school that I was teaching at up in Virginia, started sending the JV girls basketball team to my room every day, and they would come in and be like, "Man, we don't have a coach this year. We don't know who's going to coach us," and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so finally, I went down and talked to the principal, and I was like, "Hey, why are these girls coming to me and saying, hey, who they don't have a coach and all that kind of stuff?" He's like, "Well, I thought that if they talked to you about it, that you might do it, And I was like, "Okay, well, I can probably do that." And we talked about it, and so I had not coached basketball before. I had coached some baseball and softball at that point. And so after talking to him, we came to an agreement that that I would take on that role as the head JV coach. And after the first game, I just kind of fell in love with coaching basketball. So that's kind of the lane that I stayed in there. Like I said, I did have a couple of years there where I helped out with volleyball and softball. I never knew much about volleyball to begin with, but they got me in there, and I learned a lot about volleyball, and
was
that was
good.
an interesting year. But that first guy, his name was Larry Compton, and he was my athletic director and head principal at that school. It kind of got me into coaching basketball. And during that time, he also, because he was the head principal as well, he was busy, and so he let me help him out with some of the athletic director stuff as far as like scheduling and paperwork and eligibility and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
that kind of got me on that path to become an athletic director at one point. So I knew that one day I wanted to do that after I was done coaching. I didn't necessarily know when. So a couple years ago, I decided that I was done coaching at Central, and I didn't know right away if I was going to coach at another school at that point, or if I was going to look at possibly moving into seeing if I could get into an athletic director spot somewhere. And a couple of weeks after I had stepped down at Central, I got a call, and somebody was telling me that the athletic director spot over here was open, and so I, did a little bit of research and put my name in the hat over here, and came over and interviewed.
Yeah.
That's how I got the job over here. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
If you weren't an athletic director, what like other job do you think you would have been doing instead?
Well, I was a geography major in college, and so actually my first job out of college before I started teaching, I did a year at a company that down in Atlanta that was working on like site design for like businesses. So our two big businesses were like Starbucks and CVS, and so I
You
would
had
do
a passion in that as well.
yeah, so when they would open up a new store, then I would kind of do the site design. I would pick out different places in the neighborhoods they wanted to be in, and do their site design for where they were going to put their new buildings. And I like that but I wasn't super passionate about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I wasn't doing this and being in education, that
You'd be doing that?
Yeah, it maybe something like
Yeah.
that. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let me think of another topic we should talk about. How do you feel about cricket being the first lady at Karns, right?
Yeah.
Winning state. That's
Yeah.
that's some big history right here.
Yeah, it's so cricket is so awesome. I don't know how well you guys know her.
Yeah,
I
I've never spoken to her personally, but
I feel like I know her pretty decently well. She's definitely passionate about what she be doing.
Oh
so.
yeah, so cricket's awesome. She's she was our first girl to wrestle at Karns, and so in the history of Karns High School, and
Wow, I
so
didn't know that.
she set the bar pretty high for. We had other girls on the team this year, but she was the first one a couple years ago to come out for wrestling as a girl. So she, for her to be able to, be. I mean, honestly, it takes a lot of bravery to come out and be the first in anything, right? But to put herself out there and things like that. But to then go on and achieve, the highest level that you can in high school, right? To be a state champion, that's huge for her. I mean, and she's a good ambassador for the school, good student. She's down here in welding class. She's got all kinds. I mean, she's such an interesting person, and I'm so happy that she went up there and took care of business at state this past week.
yeah, that's big.
Yep.
So before she was even before she stepped up and became the first wrestler, that was an option for any girl to go in there and start wrestling, or was that?
So we just didn't we just hadn't had interest in girls wrestling before, right? So she
so it was never a thing.
Yeah, so she was like we just hadn't had a girls wrestling team before, and so she and even even last year. I believe she may have been our only female last year, but this year we had 5 girls wrestling. So she started something here at the high school, and that I mean we always like to talk to our athletes about leaving a legacy, right? Like what is this place? How is this place going to be better after you left?
Yeah,
right.
leaving your name in the grave.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, that's something that she's going to be able to be proud of for her entire life, right? Because you know, she's kind of started the momentum for our girls wrestling program by coming out and now winning state, and you've got to think that that's probably going to bring even more girls out, and to have more female athletes in any sport, but especially in a sport that we didn't previously have girls competing in, and now we've got 5, and that's awesome. So
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay, so on the topic of women athletics, how you feel about like women athletics coming like with basketball? Because you know we got, I feel like in my opinion, you know, our women's basketball team has been the same for about like a couple of years now. We've had about the same players, and I feel like they've all done their roles, done their jobs, and all that. How you feel about that? Because I think Riley Roberts hit 1,000 points this year, which is really amazing.
Yeah, but both Riley and Reese did, and then we also had Madison.
Oh yeah,
Perrin.
Madison. Yeah, Madison too.
Perrin got her 1,000th point this year, and you know, we've had those girls have played together for a long time now, and they've really turned the momentum for Karns girls basketball around. Because I know that, you know, when I was a coach before those girls got on the scene, you know, when we were playing Karns, that was, you know, we were, you know, and no offense to Karns, you know, we were coming in trying to win that game, you know, as much as possible. But you know, they've kind of turned that around. They've had 2 years in a row where they've made it to the regional tournament, and they're really competitive. Man, they played a heck of a game last Friday night against Bearden. Ended up going down by 7 or 8 points, but I mean,
which is really impressive because Bearden has one of the best girls basketball teams right now in Knox.
Yeah, they do.
Definitely stand. They definitely stand at their ground and almost stepped up and won that game.
Shout out Coach Trent too for being a wonderful coach for them for the last 2 years, which is great for them.
For sure.
And their assistant coach Jordan, you know.
Yeah, for sure. They do a great job, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go next. You know, as far as our other you know, female sports, you know, we've got softball kicking off this year. They went deep into the regional tournament last year. You know, they returned most everybody off of that team. So we're looking for Coach Spain and those ladies to have a really good year, and hopefully, you know, who knows, maybe they can get past the regional stage and get to a sub-state or a state tournament. That would be great. We're looking forward to seeing what they've got this year.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to softball, I've heard other people, I ain't gonna lie, people be like scared to play Karns when it comes to their softball team. I've heard other people be like, because I got girlfriends that play like softball and something. They be scared to play Karns. Apparently we're good. I don't really look into softball or none of that, or even baseball. I don't look into none of that. So
yeah, well, you should come out. You should come out and give them a look this year. They're you know, we've got. You know, Yu is a great hitter. She can smack it pretty well. CB does as well. Sarah Bogoski, you know, Alyssa Maples, really, you know, she's a dominant pitcher, along with some other girls that do a good job for us pitching. So it should be a really good year on that front.
Yeah.
that's good.
So you talked on how you fell in love with basketball when you first started coaching it, and you said you played it early in your life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's good. That's your favorite sport, right?
I think that probably the answer is yes for that.
Because I was going to ask
because
you know, obviously you're in you're in a wide range of sports now. What would you rank your top 3?
My top 3. I think that I like. It's a difficult question. You know, man. You put me on the spot now. There's going to be people angry about my answer, but that's okay. We're going to do it. It's a
podcast.
You're straight interest.
This is a safe space. Nobody's gonna attack you. You know, this is
if it's
very
hard, you can
safe
add in a
space.
4th spot if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say as far as me now as far as me as a player, I think that my favorite sport was baseball. I was a little better. I was a little better at that than I was at other things. You know, in basketball, when I was a player, my role was like the guy. I was the hustle guy that came off the bench. Right, if one of our starters wasn't pulling their weight, then I was the guy that coach would send in to get the rebounds. He called it doing the dirty work. Right, getting the rebounds, diving on the floor, like going out and setting the
Yeah,
example
just
for
the
that.
hustler.
Yeah,
The hustler. Yeah.
You know, the kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily, you know, not going to get you on the news, but it's going to, you know, turn the momentum.
Get the
in a game,
win.
something
Yeah.
Like that. So, you know, as far as, you know, otherwise, you know, basketball is probably my favorite because it's fast paced. There's a lot of action to it, all that kind of stuff. You know, baseball is going to be in there. I really enjoy football as well, but you know, one of the since I've been an athletic director and I've spent more time around it, and I did have a year coaching it, but you know, volleyball is really grown on me, man.
Yeah.
It's also fast paced, and you know, watching those girls go after those balls and sliding on the floor. I mean, it's incredible effort that goes into that. So I've gotten to have a lot more respect over the last couple of years, being a lot more around volleyball. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so you had that in that fourth spot. You have,
Yeah.
What you got? You got football or volleyball on top of each other right now?
I mean, I guess probably as a fan. I mean, I don't know. It's
I
probably
mean, it can be
you know,
based off whatever you want. It can
Yeah.
be, yeah.
As a fan, or just you liking the sport as a whole?
I think that, I mean, obviously, I'm probably, you know, if I'm at home and I'm watching something on TV, I'm probably watching football.
Yeah.
you
For
know?
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
You got any questions here, Ivy?
What's your favorite like football team in the NFL?
Yeah, we're gonna get into some
like-
controversial
I'm like-
topics
Yeah,
here. Let's start,
controversial
let's
topics.
some slight controversial topics.
well, you know, I mean, if we want to dive into that, I mean, I guess I'm a Titans fan.
I feel the
but-
same way about that right now. I'm
Like,
gonna be honest
you
with you.
know,
I feel the same way about that. I
my-
kind of am. I used to be, but it's a rough situation right now for them.
It's tough, but you know, I started watching the Titans a long time ago because
Are you from Tennessee?
when I was actually born in Georgia.
Georgia,
but
okay.
I've lived most of my life in Tennessee. But you know, you know, it was always the local game that was going to be on on Sunday. So
Yeah.
when the Titans were really bad, I would typically I would watch the Titans and I would take a nap, right? And that was
Just gotta wait for
and
the,
then,
wait for them to get up the dirt.
and so I typically watched them every Sunday, and then you know, and then they started to get good, so I stopped taking naps during the game.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
then and then now we're kind of
Now we're kind of just going down.
we're
again.
going back down the other side.
And-
I mean,
I
I mean, to be completely honest with you, I mean, I have a daughter who's 8, and you know, she's a big Swiftie. So this year,
oh
she-
man,
God.
Chiefs
Oh,
fan.
man, she got
Just because
she
of-
got,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Travis Kelce
Yeah.
and Taylor
I know,
Swift. Are we
yeah.
serious?
Yeah, but I'm telling
Nah.
you though, I will say this about it. You know, before, you know, if I was watching a football game and she would come in the room, she'd be like, I'm watching football, you know. But she's like, Dad's watching football. I'm gonna go do something else. But this year, she actually like would sit and watch a game because we watched a bunch of Chief games because she might see Taylor Swift on there. But because of that, she had started asking me questions about football. And now she can tell you like what down it is, how far they got to go for the
Nah,
first
that's.
down.
I
all
think
that
that. I
kind
ain't
of
gonna lie. I
stuff.
think
It's not even a bad
that's
thing.
great. I think that's
So-
great bonding with your daughter like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's just over
I know.
because even though it's just because over, it's
There's
just
a lot of
Taylor
haters
Swift.
over that right
Oh,
now.
I know.
Taylor
Yeah, I
Swift, like dating an NFL star that's on the
Yeah.
Chiefs. I mean, I still
Yeah.
think that's a good thing, regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I don't
Well,
really
I
think
mean,
it's like a bad thing. It's just like so many people have been talking about it, and it's just
Yeah.
like
Very controversial.
Definitely took
Yeah.
over the entire topic of the NFL.
Oh,
this
for
year.
sure, and and that's okay because I mean, in my opinion, you know, that was something that it's now a shared interest for me and my daughter, right? And so that was cool to me. And so if that's because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce,
Yeah, so be it.
So be it.
Yeah.
So be it.
So-
Well, off the topic of football, let's talk about basketball. Let's talk about the NBA.
Are you
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
into the NBA?
I
at all?
love
Do
the
you watch it?
NBA, man.
That's good.
I think that a lot of people hate on the NBA right now, and they shouldn't because I think the NBA is in a great place. There's
Yeah.
a lot of young stars. You know, I do NBA League Pass at home, you know, so I can watch any team all the time.
Do you like
Yeah.
watching college or NBA more?
I mean, I definitely watch UT in college. You know, anytime that game last night was big.
Yeah.
Nice win over
Especially
Auburn.
because
Yeah.
Grant Will was in the
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
Grant Will was in the building.
He's one of my favorites. You know, but I think probably overall, though, I mean, I like watching the NBA a little more. Now, there's nothing beats the NCAA tournament.
No,
I mean,
nothing beats
it's-
nothing beats those.
That's so entertaining to
Like
watch.
I don't think the finals can have nothing on the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament
No.
ever.
And
In
putting
my
your
opinion.
bracket in.
It feels like there's more competition. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like college players, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. Though, I feel
much
like
more
they
of a hustle game.
Yes,
Yeah.
hustle way more than
You see-
NBA
you see
players do.
more-
I feel like NBA players just try to make every game like an all-star game, just putting up crazy numbers. Devin
Yeah.
Booker, for example, putting up back-to-back 60-point games like that. I feel like you're just trying to be an all-star too much. And you're just like, you're not really focused on the fundamentals of the game. Like you just
in
ball
college, you
hogging the
got
whole time.
everybody out
Nobody
there
wants
just
to
fighting for a spot
yeah,
in
like,
the NBA.
like
and-
nobody wants to watch that all the time. That's why,
Right.
like, I mean, I like the NBA because I feel like I watch way more NBA highlights than I do college because I'm not really enlightened on college players like that. But like, I'll see like upcoming stars, like example Imani Bates or Rob Dillingham, some people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like I think the NBA playoffs is when it really gets interesting for the NBA. I mean, because they when those guys really lock down on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's wild, man. If you ever go to a pro game and you're watching them warm up, I mean, those guys don't miss in
Yeah, they
warm-ups,
really
you
don't.
know?
Not at all.
They just don't miss. I mean, you watch them in college and they don't miss very much, but like in the NBA, if like nobody, if they're out there warming up and nobody's guarding them, like those dudes can. I mean, they're making like 39 out of 40 3-pointers in a row. Or whatever. It's crazy.
It is
It's
ridiculous.
crazy. It's honestly insane to me. I'm gonna be real though. I don't think I haven't watched a finals game since 2016.
Yeah. Well, and
I don't think I haven't watched the finals game since
They've-
2016.
There's been a little bit of a lull just because you're getting you get the same people in the finals a lot,
Yeah.
But I think
is
that
gonna
you're
get tiring.
I think that you're gonna see in the next few years, Steph Curry's he's been great and the Warriors have been really great, but
Predictions?
those guys are,
Question mark? You
those
got-
guys they're
No,
getting
they're
on in
gonna be
years.
washed. Like Klay Thompson,
yeah.
he hasn't been doing so hot this year. So I feel
No.
like in the next couple of years it might be retirement time. Same with Draymond Green.
Yeah.
And LeBron, he'll probably go as soon as Bronny hits the NBA and he plays
Yeah.
like a couple games with him, where at least when they're out the playoffs, they'll
Yeah.
probably be done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got somebody, LeBron James has been, dominant for almost
Who knows?
as long as I've
Before
been
before before
alive.
any of us are thought of.
I mean, and I guess that I've been really, I don't know, blessed because when I was growing up, it was Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And then then you had those years of Kobe, and then and then LeBron stepped in, and so I've been able to watch a lot of just absolutely phenomenal basketball.
It's crazy
players
how
over the years.
when one era ends, it's like another era begins. It's like
Yeah,
it
I
never
feel like
stops.
I don't
There's
know
always
who
that
I don't
one
know who's
star
gonna
player.
like take over after LeBron. My opinion, I see Wemby taking over just because his height
I
advantage.
agree.
He's like a cheat code. He's like a
Yeah.
cheat code. I don't even
agree.
know how he's allowed in the
agree.
NBA. He should be illegal because like you're not stopping somebody that's 6'4" like that, and like it's like somebody took KD's DNA and LeBron's DNA and just smashed them together.
Yeah,
because he moves like KD. But like I don't know, I kind of see LeBron in him too, and he's just like mainly dunking. Maybe dunking, that's when I see him. But like then again, who's not dunking at 6'4" when your head's almost at the rim?
All
Yeah.
right, so
Right.
in college basketball this year in the March Madness bracket, okay? Tennessee seems to always fall off when they're an amazing team. They're always expected to go far.
Yeah.
Do you think that they will make it far into the March Madness this year?
I think that the big difference between this year's Tennessee team and previous year's Tennessee teams is that in the past, where they've been a really great team altogether, sometimes they get in those offensive droughts where there's not necessarily just one person that you can be like, hey man, this guy's got to go get me a bucket right now.
Yeah.
I think that's completely different this year when you got somebody like Dalton Connect that can just
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He can pick you up and carry you for a few minutes
Yeah,
while
he's a star right now.
and that was pretty evident last night. He got in early foul trouble. Tennessee, Auburn caught up. They got a little bit of a lead there. Connect comes back in and he like hits this one crazy step back three, and then
doing
it's
that
just
all
on.
year.
Yeah, and then it's on, and he scores 39 points and we win the game. And so I think that's a big difference. Now, can they win it all? I mean, I think this year in college basketball it's been so crazy because, all the top teams this year have, 4, 5, 6 losses.
Yeah,
you know?
just some
and,
upsets.
Yeah.
and so nobody's really safe.
Yeah, nobody's
And
really confident.
So I think I would say that because of him plus the team as a whole, and the way that they play defense, I think they've got as good of a shot of anybody now. It's the tournament,
Yeah.
so that could be over.
I would love to
one,
see Tennessee win the chip. If they made it,
Yeah.
if they made it to the finals, man, dude, I would go to the game. I would force my dad to buy tickets, and we would go to the game to watch
Pretty
Tennessee
sure I'm
win it
going
all.
to the game against Kentucky, the last game of the regular season this year. So it's gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah,
It's not home game, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is. I might
yeah.
have to pop up to the Food City Center. They want to change the name on us and everything.
Yeah.
Do you usually like ever go to like basketball games or like stuff like that?
Yeah, I went just a couple weeks ago. Who they play? I mean, they played Vanderbilt. We won by like 35 points.
Of course.
But,
Yeah,
it was.
I don't think the last Tennessee game I
Yeah.
went to, I think I went to one like last season.
Yeah.
It was my dad's first UT game he ever went to, and he was like, he had extra tickets. He was like, I want to go. I was like, duh. I've always went to women's games with my grandmother because she loves the Lady Vol. So
Oh, yeah.
I've always went to like women's basketball game. I've only went to men's basketball games like a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I went with my AAU team before, and then the other time was with my dad. That's it. So I've only went twice. So I love to see them play again because I feel like we only get better. I've never seen Tennessee basketball team wise. We just get worse. So I don't know. I would love to see them when they're good right now versus like if we just have a downfall like in the next couple of years, which I really don't see that happening because basketball players now I feel like they only get better and better. Like it's crazy talent. Like you got people that's just like they're athletic for no reason. So it's just like it's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
Whole another level. Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen that. I went to that Tennessee and Alabama game this year basketball. They blew them out. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
They definitely stepped up and beat them boys. And
That was a
got
good
redemption.
game. They're going down to Tuscaloosa on Saturday, so play again.
It's gonna be good. So anybody else got anything to
You
talk
got
about?
anything else for us or anything?
No, I think I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me on and talking to me. It's been great.
Yeah, that's
For
been great.
sure.
Thank you
You
for
know,
coming.
I feel like this is a very successful first episode. Got
Hopefully many more.
anything to say for people at home watching this?
Hey, yeah, come out and support the spring sports. We got track and field is starting up. We got baseball, softball, men's soccer. We're looking to have competitive years in all of it. Tennis. So come.
There's
come
one
out and
sport I
support
forgot to
the
talk
kids,
about.
yeah.
I forgot to talk about one more sport. We do have to talk
Okay,
about
all
one
right.
more thing
Yeah,
before
yeah.
you get off the show real quick. What about the football team this year? Let's talk about that. That was
Okay.
really
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting topic. You
Yeah.
know,
yeah,
everybody.
we forgot to talk about that.
It's just been a real iffy thing, you know, because we had Walker hurt at the beginning of the season. You got Kareem out here playing his heart out. You know,
Yeah. So it was a tough football season, that's for sure.
And-
but
and disappointing.
Yeah, it's but I think the good thing about it is that we've got within that there were times that you could see where our younger guys that were stepping up, right, and they were getting some valuable experience. You can't always come in and necessarily play at the varsity level in football as a freshman or a sophomore. It's just not always the case when you've got upperclassmen behind you or in front of you, I guess, right? And so we got to develop a lot of talent this year. I mean, and like we said earlier, it's hard to replace somebody like Deshaun Bishop that you can hand the ball off to.
You've got to have those years.
And that dude can break 15 tackles and then run away from everybody else because he's just faster than everybody, right? And so when you're trying to replace, a player like that and the pieces that we had around him, you've got to develop your guys. So sometimes you're going to see those ups and downs in football seasons. And so I think overall though, you look at what we've got coming up. We got a lot of talented younger kids that are putting in the work and they're doing it. They're doing it right now and workouts. They're lifting weights. They're getting ready for next year's season. And so I'm excited to see what Coach Warren and the guys have to come up for this season because I think that we're going to see a lot of improvement.
It's all just a
Definitely.
setup for everyone to get their experience and improve as a team as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure. I feel like now next year it's gonna be way different just because you're gonna have a lot of the upperclassmen from different schools that were really good. That's not gonna be holding our school back. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like it can definitely next year can definitely be a game changer because I feel like we got a lot of good talent. Even like players that just started playing football for the first year, and I feel like they did good. Example, Warder Appiah. Like I feel he just came out there. I remember it was kickoff, man. He caught it, boom, run into the end zone.
Yeah,
It's just crazy. You got people like Simon too, like just like he's known mainly for basketball, but he came out there first time playing football.
Athletic, yeah.
Him and Warda made huge improvements over the season. I mean, and they went from not having ever played before to being really good cornerbacks and swatting down passes and get some interceptions. And I think that with their athletic ability, they're gonna continue to see that improvement as they actually learn how to play the game and the footwork and all that kind of stuff.
For sure, I feel like that even gets them ready for basketball season, footwork wise. Like Warder, like
Stay in condition.
like that's one thing I can't like playing basketball with him. I know he's a good defender and he's like his footwork is pretty nice when it comes to defense. So I feel like he's fast too. Same with Simon, but like Simon's always been athletic though. So like I can't really speak the same like on improvements with like with him versus Warder because Warder like him playing football like that. I feel like that can definitely improve your skills in basketball. Coming like footwork, mainly footwork. There's not really a whole lot like playing football and then you coming into basketball season. You can't really make no improvements off of that, but. Besides that, I mean, except lifting weights too and just getting stronger. So that can definitely help. So you're not so weak in the paint or nothing like that, trying to get boards or nothing.
That's right.
So hopefully a bright future for the football
for sure.
these upcoming years. Is that it?
I think that's it. I think we had a really good, successful episode. Thankful for Mr. Karns coming on the show. This is definitely our first time doing this because I've never done a podcast a day in my life
this
before.
is a new thing for all of us.
Yeah,
so.
It's definitely
awesome.
a first thing for all of us. I think we can have a very successful thing going here for AV Production.
Yeah, I was happy to come on. It's been fun.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
good.
It was
So,
nice to meet you.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Well,
thank you everybody for watching the Beaver Talk Show, and we gonna see y'all in the next one.
See you.